Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are taking a look at the Bergara B14-R. And before we get this video started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to this video's sponsor. I am super excited about this one. This video's sponsor is going to be Airgun Depot. So like my other sponsors like Gators, Airgun Depot did not pay me for this ad space. However, I am an affiliate with them. So I'm going to drop a link down in the comment section below, and anything you purchase down there will help support the channel, and I seriously appreciate it. I have been testing from Airgun Depot one of the brand new SIG MCX pellet rifles. This thing is stupid amounts of fun, and now that I have a son and I am starting to kind of already think ahead out of all the fun things that I would have loved to have when I was a kid. And I'll tell you what, for around 200 bucks, sometimes a little less, this SIG pellet gun is pretty freaking cool. I had a little steel target called the Medusa and a few other things that just made it a freaking blast. I'll put all those links down in the description. And again, anything you guys purchase seriously helps support the channel, and I can't thank you enough. The Bergara B14-R. What a wonderful, wonderful little rifle. I am so pumped about this, and I finally got a chance to get out to the distance range where I normally go, and it has allowed us to bring this rifle out to 100, 200, and 300 yards. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, Joe, that looks a lot like your HMR rifle that you had from Bergara in 308, and you would be very much correct. However, you'll notice the ejection port is a tiny bit smaller. This is Bergara's trainer to the full-size HMR, and it is in 22 long rifle. Now, it has about the exact same weight. This thing might be a little bit heavier than that 308 with this absolutely comically large optic that I have up here at the top, but it is absolutely in 22 long rifle. And this is a phenomenal trainer for the full-size 308. This video was made possible thanks to Bergara for actually sending me this rifle to check out in the review. I have purchased my previous HMR, so I'm a huge fan of Bergara. I have spent some hard-earned money on their rifles, and I've been very impressed. And again, they were nice enough to send me out this rifle to take a look at. And then also I have to thank SK Ammunition for sending me a couple hundred rounds of match 22 long rifle ammunition, which we're going to be talking about later in this video, especially because in this day and age in 2023, match 22 long rifle ammunition is still pretty hard to come by and very expensive. One of the first things that I dig about the B14-R is the actual stock set, magazine well, and trigger is the exact same as the HMR. So in theory, you could pop this whole thing out of the actual receiver and barrel section and put it into a standard Bergara full-size 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor action, and that would work no problem. Now, I have a 20 MOA base on here with a Blackhound Emerge 3-24 by 56 first focal plane optic. This is a Japanese optic, and I will be doing a full review on this optic in the future. It is pretty freaking awesome, and one might say it's a little bit overkill for shooting maybe 100 or 200 yards with a 22. But one of the first points that I want to mention about why I was so interested in the B14-R is for training and practice at distance, specifically here in the state of Pennsylvania. So I love my B14 in 308, the HMR that I have, but at 300 yards, it's pretty much child's play for that cartridge. And here in Pennsylvania, especially in my location of Pennsylvania, it is very difficult to find any range over 200, let alone over 300, to really stretch the legs of a 308. And then I saw a rifle like this, and I started to kind of rack my brain around the fact that 22 long rifle at 100 yards is a rather challenging shot, and if you push it out to 200, even more so, 300, even more so. You begin to see really interesting things that the bullet does with just a small amount of wind or a small amount of heat outside, and how the bullet acts. And you learn a lot about how to use a mil reticle optic like this, how to work the turrets, and that's something that I am very much still learning, and I am a total beginner at, because I don't do a ton of long-range shooting. So for me, I didn't get a ton of experience with that using 308. I mean, I pretty much dialed it in at 100, and that rifle was good to go at 300, no adjustments needed. It was just planting them right where I wanted them to go. So being able to say, okay, we need to go 4.5 mils up to even kind of get on the steel target at 300 yards is really nice training. And you can take that training and put it right into the full-size rifle variants from Bergara or anyone else at a distance when you have that ability. So I absolutely love this rifle for that reason. A few other features about this Bergara 22 compared to the other just standard B14-22. This has a different bolt. It has this really nice two-piece bolt set up here, so racking the bolt is incredibly smooth. No concerns, no issues at all there. You got a really nice bolt handle on there. As far as cheek weld is concerned, you do have the same adjustable cheek piece. Here on the stock, you just simply loosen this and you're able to move it up and down, and you also have an adjustable length of pull. I'm rather average size in the length of my arms, and the 3 slots that they had right from the factory actually worked out really well for me. No need to switch it out. I do have QD points here on either side of the rifle, and then also the same QD points are up in the front of the stock. So if you want to throw on a sling that has standard QD points, you're good to go. We got this awesome looking AICS length magazine, but it's just kind of shortened up for the 22. And this is capable of holding 10 rounds of 22 long rifle. The rifle does come with just 1 magazine out of box, but you can pick up others out there online. On the Blackhound, I am running some worn rings, and these are high, and it works out pretty well with this 56 mil objective. We got a pretty tight finish there, but nothing too crazy, and was very easy to zero this setup without issue with the rings and the mount. And then I'm also running a Magpul bipod up in the front. Nothing to write home about this bipod, but it's relatively lightweight and does a pretty good job. You have 2 sling attachment points. One is usually used for the bipod, and if you want to run a traditional sling, not QD, you could also do that in the front and the back of the rifle. Throughout the B-roll of this entire video are going to be seeing the shooting footage of grouping this at 100 yards. A few points: I am no match shooter, and for the most part throughout the video I am just using a bipod and also a little range bag in the back to hug and just kind of get a proper positioning for underneath the stock. So with that as the base, this rifle will outshoot me every single day of the week, and I guarantee you if this was on a lead sled it would be a sub MOA gun, probably like a .55 MOA gun. The best ammunition that I was shooting throughout the day for grouping was this SK long range match ammunition, and this is specifically set up for 100 yards and beyond. And you guys are going to be seeing a few groups from this that were absolutely within an inch at 100 yards, a little bit below an inch. Every single time that I felt the trigger pull one way or another, I knew the shot was going to break a little bit left or a little bit right. So the only time that group opened up between one solid hole at 100 was when I yanked the trigger one way or another. So this match SK ammo was phenomenal. And then we also had just their regular SK match ammo that is not designated for 100 yards plus, and this did a really good job as well. About the same setup in the groups at 100 yards, and I did not push this past 100. Now I also wanted to see what the rifle would do with just basic target ammunition. So I brought out some bulk pack Federal Champion stuff, just 40 grain, a little bit spicier here. The SK Match is almost subsonic, and this at 100 flew way above my point of aim, and the group opened up to almost about 2 inches. So regular bulk Federal, it didn't like it all that much. I did do some CCI Stingers, and these were pretty good. It was about 1.5 inches, really spicy downrange, and I think this is a good representation of just basic hunting ammunition that you might be popping through this thing for some pest control or whatever. And then also for bulk pack, this Winchester Super X actually still continues to impress me for some bulk pack 22. This was getting a little bit below 1.5 inch group at 100 yards, and I had absolutely no complaints with it. I think if I'm going to shoot this thing with bulk box stuff, if I run out of match or whatever, this will probably be what I continue to zero the rifle for and continue to shoot it with, because it's pretty solid and carries a little bit of energy behind it at 100 or 200 yards without issue. Of course, throughout this video, I freaking got all the way to the range, and it is threaded 1/2x28. I did do a few zeroing shots a range day previously with my Silencer Co. Sparrow 22 suppressor. Got to the range today and forgot it. So the entire range day was done unsuppressed. In a future video, we will have to check out if this rifle really tightens up anymore running suppressed, or if it stays about the same. But the nice thing with subsonic 22 ammunition out of a bolt gun, you almost don't need ears to begin with. It is very, very quiet. And with a suppressor, you just hear the firing pin and the little thwack of the round hitting the paper down range. Now, I did also group this rifle at 200 yards, and I was beyond impressed. We were getting easily about 1.5 inch group, almost 2 inch group at 200 yards with this long range SK Match ammo. And I'll tell you what, for a 22, that's freaking ridiculous, especially a 22 that's just rested off a bipod. And that's it. You got a lot of human error there. It's not on a lead sled, and this thing is still pulling sub-MOA groups at 200 yards, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, that SK long range was the only thing I grouped it with at 200. I thought that was a pretty good representation of what the rifle can do. Not on a lead sled, just very practical shooting. I did shoot it out to 300 yards on a steel target, but I did not get that on camera. It's really just kind of throwing them, lobbing them down range at 300 to try to find that steel target. So maybe in the future, I will try to bring some paper out at that 300 and group it on paper to really see what we are doing at that distance when the wind and other environmental factors plays a huge role with 22 long rifle. But guys, that is going to wrap up this first impressions video on the Bergara B14-R. This rifle's absolutely phenomenal, and at around 1,200 bucks, it is rather expensive compared to a standard off-the-shelf Savage or something like that. But when you compare it to the precision 22 long rifle firearms that are out there, this thing is incredibly reasonably priced. You are seeing comparison videos to the Voodoo and other options that are well into the high $2,000 area. And I think for the average person like myself that just wants to get into some slight precision rimfire, this thing is absolutely phenomenal for the price point, and you're getting a huge bang for your buck. If you guys have any other questions about this rifle or anything else on the channel, please throw them down below in the comments section, and I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, head up to the description, check out those links to support the channel, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.